What's up, everybody? Rat Pack here, and I got another Entitled Parents video here for you today. Our first post is by user ULFR and is titled, "This is a family locker room for families." So, this is a much shorter story I mentioned in my other post here. To recap, I was placed in possession of a pair of kids, 8 female and 5 male, on turbo short notice over the weekend. On Friday, as soon as the parents left, pandemonium reigned, and I knew I needed to get the energy out of the kids or I'd be dead by Sunday. So I had them collecting bathing suits, and we all went to my gym, which has a guest policy and a pool. Got the kids signed in as my guests for the evening, and asked a bit uncomfortably what the correct thing to do would be, given I was in charge of a boy and a girl. The girl at the front desk laughed at me a little, and said that the family locker rooms were down the same hallway as the women's locker room. It felt very, very odd walking down the forbidden hallway, but true to her word, there was two big doors, one that said families and one that said women. The boy really wanted to wander into the women's locker room, which got vetoed almost immediately. We get in there and there's stalls inside for changing, basically a closet with a changing room door on it. Me, being hyper aware that anything going even slightly wrong in relation to someone else's naked child is a very, very bad place for misunderstandings, decided that we'd take turns. The girl would go first, get out of her clothes, change into her suit, and then come hang with me while her brother did the same. And then when it was my turn, I'd best be seeing two pairs of ankles under the door the whole time, or someone's getting left in the locker room hung by their bathing suit. Happily enough, nothing went wrong. On our end, anyway. Unfortunately, while the girl was changing, a mom and her son came into the family locker room and looked confused. "Why are you and your son just standing there?" says she. "Oh, I'm just watching the kids and his sister is changing. They're not my children. Figured this was the safest for everyone," says I, thinking, "Oh God, no. Please, it's Friday." She rears back in shock, raises her voice. "They're not your children?" Nope, I just borrowed them so their mom could get some alone time with dad. At this point, the little dude is hiding behind me and the clothing rustling from the little girl has stopped. "Ma'am, I'm just trying to get them changed and into the pool. I can't take a little girl into the men's locker room," says I, thinking I'm not precisely comfortable in there. I can't imagine it would go well with a little girl. "This is a family locker room for families, not for babysitters. And who thought you were mature enough to watch two kids on their own? I'm getting you removed," says she, and then yanks her child out behind her to go yell at someone at the front desk. The boy tugged on my pants and looked up at me. "I think that lady is crazy." I looked down at the little dude and nodded, but made a shh sound and told the girl to get changed pronto. The woman didn't come back, and the kids didn't wander off while I was getting changed. We had a great time in the pool, and I didn't see the kid or his mom while we were in the pool or after. Don't know what happened. There was a different desk attendant when we left. Nah, that parent is mad goofy, bruh. Just mind your business. It is so hard for people to mind their business. I hate, but just like this, I hate those changing rooms at like YMCA and stuff, bro. Especially the old dudes changing, bro. I can't I can't with them. Our next post is from user that goofy random kid and is titled, "My Karen of a neighbor says she's entitled to my yard while I'm away." I'm 27 female and I live in a rather nice neighborhood near the middle. My neighbor, who we'll call EM for entitled mother, has a large dog and a rather destructive son, who we'll call EK for entitled kid. I have a pretty good financial situation, and I live alone because the house was passed down to me in the will. It's a pretty big yard compared to Karen's yard, which is almost half the size. I have no gate for the yard, leaving it open for any pets or animals to come right in. I work from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., so I'm gone for a long while during the day. Karen is the type to do a lot of gardening, so she doesn't like EK in the yard with all the tools. One day, she asked me if I would allow her son to play in the yard while I was out. at work. It couldn't cause any harm, could it? I accepted, but I did tell her that her son would have to be gone by the time I was back, and all went well until I got my first cat. Keep in mind, EK would always bring the dog over with him to play. I named my new Ginger cat, well, Ginger. Ginger loved to bask out in the sun with the entitled kid and dog, until one day I found that she wasn't outside. In fact, she was inside with a bite mark. I rushed her to the vet immediately, where she was treated and wore some sort of bandage wrapped around her waist for the next week or so. I checked the cameras only to see entitled kid trying to move Ginger out of her original spot so that he could sit there, and she swiped at him, scaring him off. It seemed that EK's dog did not take kindly to this, and the mark was not a bite mark but a swipe from the dog. I presented this info with Karen, who denied it and said, "He's just a kid and Guinea is fine." I reminded her that it was Ginger, then told her that neither her son or dog would be allowed on my property again. She threw an absolute tantrum and told me that they should be entitled to the yard while I was away because, after all, you can't let it just go to waste. I then reassured her of my decision, to where she said word for word, "Ma'am, you need to leave." I'm so confused. I'm considering my options, and I think small claims court is a bit too much for this. What am I supposed to do? So, unfortunately, I myself am not too knowledgeable on what you should do in this situation, but in the comment section, user Poppy's Melody has a good take on the situation. If they, child, dog, or mom, come on again, call the police. You have clearly stated they are not welcome, and they would thus be trespassing. Document the cat's injury and keep that information. Do not let them back on your property, especially not an unattended child. Our final post is by user Carrie Darling and is titled, "Parents allowed their young child to play an adult game, then complained because the game was too inappropriate for her. My 26 female best friend, Naya's 28 female, oldest sister, Skylar, 30 female, has two kids with her husband, Cole, 30 male, and those two children are named Jay, who is 5 female, and Leah, who is 12 female. Naya and I have known each other for 12 years, since freshman year in high school, and are extremely close, but we are on completely different work schedules, with her working Monday through Friday and me working Friday through Tuesday. Because Naya has weekends off and I don't, we rarely ever get to hang out. But when we do, I always request paid time off so we can, since Naya's job doesn't offer paid time off and her paychecks are already immensely small as it is. Shots fired. Wow. At the end of April, Naya and I planned a sleepover at her house, so I requested my paid time off a month in advance. It's only supposed to be 2 weeks' notice, but if I know sooner than 2 weeks, a heads up with extra time to spare is always nice. Now for some extra context, Naya's house is not Skylar's and Cole's house. They have their own place but come to visit Naya frequently. Now, on to the main part of this story. Skylar and Cole were over for a visit at Naya's place when I arrived, and that night we all decided to play Cards Against Humanity. When Skylar and Cole allowed Leah to play too, I thought Leah had already played this game and knew about all of the inappropriate answers and questions. Boy, was I wrong! Cole was the first one to draw a question card. I think the question was something like, "Why can't I sleep at night?" Can't quite remember, but it wasn't an inappropriate question. When we all picked our answers, mine and Naya's answers were inappropriate. All I had were cards with inappropriate answers for clarification. When Cole read our answers, he told Naya and I, "Know your audience. Don't pick inappropriate cards." I explained to him that A, all I have are inappropriate answers, and B, it's an adult game. Cole actually told me to switch out my entire deck for a new one if every card I had is inappropriate. But I couldn't. I couldn't look at the cards I was drawing. So there was no avoiding getting more inappropriate cards. Not to mention, Leah is 12 years old. She's been in school for at least 6 years. I doubt she hasn't heard about half the inappropriate stuff mentioned in the game, and it was Skylar's and Cole's choice to let her play. It really put a damper on the game, and after an hour, Naya and I were done. If you're going to allow your child to play an adult game, don't complain because it's too inappropriate for them. In regards to the situation, I don't think anyone is really in the wrong here. It was simply a lack of knowledge and communication here. Cole didn't know the game was inappropriate, and you thought that the little one had already played the game before. Now you know, so next time, if that possibly happens again with an adult game and he allows her to play it, pull him to the side and explain the game so he knows whether or not to let her play. And also, it's not your decision to decide what Cole wants to present to Leah in regards to inappropriate stuff. She may be 12, but I believe that even then that is still not old enough to be playing this game. There are definitely things in this game that she may not know and think she may know, but there's just too many things that she shouldn't know at the wee age of 12. All right? That's all for today from Rat Pack. I hope you enjoyed and stay safe out there.